Hi guys, here's our Chapter 2 test. Pay attention, follow along. We may not do all of these problems, so make sure you listen carefully. We are going to do 1 through 6, that's why I kind of highlighted them already. So on 1 through 3, we'll identify the domain and the range and say yes or no if it is a function. So let's talk about the function part first. Remember, for each input, there can only be one output. Okay? So for every input, one output. Remember what I'd said? For one box of brownie mix, you cannot make 2 pans of brownies. Then you need to state your domain and your range. Okay? I want you to remember that your domain is always your X values, your inputs. The range is always these guys here. All we have to do is list them. So that's for numbers 1 through 3. Moving on in 4, 5, and 6, to tell whether or not it is a linear function, that's what they're asking us, we want it to be in y equals mx plus b format. So if these look like this exactly, then it is a function. If it does not, then it's not a function. Lastly, they want us to plug -3 in for this x in all 3 of these problems and solve. Don't worry about plugging it. You can put, this has really nothing to do with the problem. Okay, this is just saying h of x, it's just a function. But plug in the -3 on the right-hand side where you see the x and solve the remainder of the problem. Okay, so you should have a couple answers. Yes or no if it's a function, and then what's your answer after plugging in the -3? Here we're going to do numbers 7 and 8 only. On these problems, we need to determine whether or not what the slope is, and does it rise, fall, or is it horizontal or vertical? Okay. If it rises, it's going to look like this. It's going to be something positive, like 3/4. If it falls, it's going to be something negative, like -2/3. If it's horizontal, it's going to be something like 0/4. And if it's vertical, your slope is going to be like 4/0, with 0 on the bottom. Okay. Now, so we just need to identify our x1 and y1, x2 and y2 on all of these. Okay, and then plug it into to find slope, you take y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Plug it into that formula and get your slope. So hopefully that helps. We're going to skip 10, and we're going to go straight to 11 and 12. Okay, so we'll highlight those so we know, whoops, let's use blue again. We are going to do 11 and 12. Remember, to graph it, you need to know the M and the B. Okay? So when you go to graph this, you're going to want to graph your B first, which is 3. So you're going to graph him up here on the y-intercept. Then your slope is -2, or -2/1. So you're going down 2 and over 1 to make your line. On number 12, we want to graph a line that's perpendicular to this. So basically, that's a -1/1 for the slope. So remember, on perpendicular lines, we got to flip the slope around and change its sign. So we're going to flip it, flip these two, and change the sign. So it was negative, it should now be positive. And then you're going to use the exact same B right here, so that you're going to start and you're going to graph him first. and then use your new slope to draw the line. Okay, now we're going to do number 13. Doggone, I did it again. Wrong color. Okay, number 13, you need to graph this. Here is your M. Here is your B. Excuse me. So similar, what we're talking about. Graph your B first up here, then your M, your slope. It's a negative, so we're going down 3/1, correct? So that's all you got to do for 13. Then we're going to slide on down to 18, 19, and 20. Okay, so we'll do 18, 19, and 20. Okay? It says x and y vary directly. Write the equation for x varying directly to y. This is like the last quiz we took where we said y equals kx. You simply need to plug these in for x and y up here and solve for k. Then once you do, rewrite it and say, let's say you got 7 for k. So then if 7 is k, you just rewrite y equals 7x. That's all you're doing for these three right here. Okay? Lastly, number 22. We're going to do this one. We'll be all finished. You need to make a scatter plot of this data. Okay, so make a scatter plot. So remember, if you're going to do a scatter plot, x, y axis, this would be the x, this would be the y. Tell whether the data has a positive correlation, a negative correlation, or no correlation at all. So graph all of these on here and see what kind of correlation we have. That is the end of your test. Hopefully this helped you out. Have a good rest of your day.